We're taking the world's ugliest golf cart and making it the world's most vanilla, bland, blah golf carts. I'm not really sure that was a good idea. When doing something like this, you need to get all your family members to help you. This is where they'll leave you. Notice anything missing here in this scene? Like those empty chairs? That's okay. That's the dad's job, is to take care of it all, right? Right. So this is going to be the first installment. This is in September. And come springtime, when I pull this sucker out of the garage, it's going to look really nice. Hopefully it's going to look really nice. I've got ideas. It's almost as fun as it looks. Call me crazy, I think it looks worse. Put in bay, number 19. I plan on ripping this thing apart, taking the body off, and getting it ready for paint. First real day of work was fairly successful. You see, I've already got the body taken off. I had that seat back removed, but I figured I'd put it back on because I'm going to have to drive it up onto the trailer to take it to the car wash. Piles of pieces, big pile of pieces, wheels back there that I should probably sell or throw away. And labeled bags full of hardware. I am loaded up and ready for tomorrow evening to hook up with the golf cart, go out there and wash this stuff up. It's going to get washed, scrubbed really, really good, because then it's going to come in here and I need to start doing some body work. I need to do something about those ugly headlight holes. They're not straight, they're not level. Look, this one's up higher than that one. This one is like this. That's just ugly and unprofessional. Then, let's see, I still got to take these off, scrub all that. Still got some more wrap to take off, and over here too. Aha, right there where they had a padlock, right there, that one's going to be interesting. I've got some ideas. Then on the hood, in addition to these holes, I've got holes here, here, there. Those are probably going to stay. And then, of course, the twins over here. There they are. So I've got to fix all of these holes. I have a plan. We'll see how well it works. It's not conventional. The secret to getting such a good cut on plexiglass is to push down with the saw and have low expectations to begin with. However, that's going to work. Always wear safety glasses. Do as I say, not as I do. Notice that one didn't break. I forgot push down really hard and go slow. What I'm doing with these backing plates for the headlight holes that I'm filling in. You can't just fill it. And I'm not going to do any plastic welding. I'm not talented enough for that, nor do I have the tools for that. But I can epoxy this on the backside and then do some magic work in here and fill in the hole. You'll see. This is going to be awesome. So my improper chemical of choice, JB Weld High Heat. There's a Special reason why I got the high heat epoxy. It was cheaper. You mix 2 equal parts, because that's how it comes out, on a piece of cardboard or a piece of plastic, disposable, and you use a little ice cream stick that they gave you to stir it up. Consistent color is what you're looking for. Then you take that popsicle stick and you just goop it onto the back of the hood. You don't have to be super neat. Matter of fact, super sloppy has its advantages here. No, not that sloppy. And then you stick this in place. However, this hood is curved, so it's not going to stay there. That's when you get something like these to hold it for you. Now you don't want to squeeze it too hard because you will shatter the plexiglass. There. Now you just leave it there for about an hour. When you come back, it'll be golden. When I smushed it down, some of it squeezed out onto the outside. And that's where I said sloppy can be beneficial. So now what I'm doing is I'm smearing it around, and it's also going to hold it from the front side of it. Put a little bit of glue on one side and a little bit of glue on the other. And we wait. Like I can also go ahead and do this around the edges here to help hold it on back here. There's no rules here. The only rules is to make it stick. And the better it sticks, the better the finished result. Now we wait. This is one of the tedious parts. I still have some of the purple stuff on here from the wrap that was on it when we bought it. I need to get it off of there. There we go. Razor blade to the rescue. This is more tedious than when we had to peel the stuff off of the entire body. At least I was able to get large sheets of it to come off. So while this is drying, I went ahead and scraped some of the leftovers off of here, and I put it right here on this crack that's on the front right corner of the rear body. This is where the seat goes, so right by the passenger's right foot. It's cracked from the bottom up to about here, and then I've got this tape here to help hold it together while that dries. So then now I went ahead and started preparing this. There was a lock hasp right here. I took my grinder with a very grindy wheel on it and started hitting it and making the level lower than the rest of it. And what I mean by that, all of this is lower than this level. And you can see a very good representation right here. This was a crack, and I V'd it out. I put a grinder in here like this, then I put a grinder over here like that, right there. I V'd it out. And what that does, that gives whatever filler I use, that gives it a place to bite over here and a place to bite over here so that it holds on really good. If you just have one line, a crack, and you put the stuff in there, it's less likely to hold than it is if you were to V it out like this. I'm probably going to put some of this epoxy in these holes. This one right here, and then fill this in also, and then these two holes. From over here, it kind of looks like a smiling face. Nothing to smile about here, buddy. And then let all that dry with the other headlight hole. What I'm getting ready to do, while I'm still waiting for this and that to dry, I'm going to get some brake clean and start getting off. You see that adhesive right here? I'm going to see if I can't get that adhesive off. And it's all over. I mean, you see it all around the back wheel opening. There's more right here. There's more here. Now there's some right there. I mean, it's literally all over it. And then there's also this one, also has a bunch of it on the top side, which I can't get to right now because of this, but that's okay. Here is where we stand right now. I'm still waiting for this stuff to dry. It's been well over an hour. I've been wiping down the body with brake clean and paper towels. These rubber no-step covers, I got them off. Look at the difference here. This is what it looked like when it was new, and that's what it looks like after it's been fading in the sun forever. Interesting. It's white now, and it was yellowish white before. Well, I came back out like an hour and a half later. This stuff is taking forever to dry, but it's dry enough that I was able to take off the channel locks and move on to the other headlight. And I went ahead and hit the holes on the top of the hood and over there where the lock hasp was. Here's what we got right now. The first one that I did. And here we are on number 2. Here's the holes up on top of the hood that I went ahead and filled in. And I used the very last of what I had to do this. Unfortunately, it didn't fill the holes. I still have another tube. I haven't even looked at the cracked corner yet. It looks like it might be okay. Score. Now, all joking aside, this come out pretty good. It feels strong. I think I'm happy with it. Over here, didn't come out quite so good. You can see that the holes didn't fill. Not quite sure what I'm going to do about that. And then you can see this isn't shiny at all, so I need to go through and hit it with more brake clean and paper towels and get all this glue off. You know, this is nice and smooth, but then I've got some glue stuck on here, a little bit up here. So I've still got some glue removal to do. And then this mess over here. First of all, I've never removed any of the glue yet. So it has a bunch, as you can see. Okay, so then I put some of that stuff on here and it's still tacky. It's Monday evening, guys. Monday evening. I put this stuff on here Saturday evening. And it's still tacky. And then this side's not, well, I guess it is a little tacky. But it's just, I'm not happy about this. I hope to actually get a little bit of body filler on these spots that have Bodywork and let it dry. I already took a grinder to all this up here, yes, a grinder, with a flapper wheel, but it made quick work of the epoxy repair. So I still need to hit the hood with it up here on, there we go, up here, and then there's more over there. And I'll probably take a little bit of it around the headlights, but not a whole lot. And hopefully get some body filler on that too. The filler I'm using is just your regular old Bondo that you get at, well, anywhere, really. I mean, you can get it at Walmart. Bondo by brand, which is probably the bottom of the shelf in all reality. But it's also just a golf cart, and I'm cheap. And then once I've put the filler on there, I'm going to take a DA over the entire body and get rid of that smooth surface. Rough it up just a little bit to give the primer something to bite onto. If the bodywork looks good and the shine is off of all of the plastic body, then it's pretty much ready for primer. I am going to have a little bit of taping off to do here. I'll just tape it off, and then all this will just stay white. And down here too. I'm okay with that. But however, I don't want to leave all this white. I also don't want to paint over the stickers. So I'm probably going to have to tape over it and then cut it out with a razor blade. And then this one too. This one I'm going to leave here. That's the shift indicator. I'm going to leave it there for now. And after it gets painted, that's going to show me exactly where to put the new sticker. This is the first application of body filler. Sometimes it takes a few applications. I'll show you why right over here. Now these are where the holes were. These are looking good. Same thing over here. But now where I'm definitely going to need more applications, right there and right there. You see they're still dipped down, concave. Both of those headlights are, the filler is a lot thicker than what it should be. But it's, again, it's just a 30-year-old golf cart. If the filler stays in place for 5 years, I will be thrilled. If it stays in place for 2 years, I'll figure out something else to do. Okay, we're doing some body work. I put filler on here. Well, actually, first I put the JB Weld stuff on there, and then the filler, and now I'm getting ready to sand it down. This is the first pass. I've already sanded down on the hood over there. I'm using a DA sander. What it does is it sands like in circles in a circle, instead of just like a grinder. But I'm gonna take and knock this down a little bit, and up in here a little bit also. The power situation of this garage is not that great. So when I turn on the compressor, I've got to turn off the lights. Otherwise I'll pop a breaker, and the breaker's in the house. I don't have a breaker feed out here. So I'm using my lantern, LED lantern. I can use a couple small overhead bulbs, and I have enough left over for the heater. So far so good. And when that thing kicks on, you're not going to be able to hear anything. Did the first round of sanding with the DA, and I gotta say, I'm not totally upset. Look at this. This was torn. So I've got a couple little divots right there and there. A small one right there. And then there's a little bit right here that needs some work. This looks amazing, especially for the first pass. So I'm gonna give it just a little tiny bit here, a couple spots, and then we'll give it one more sanding and it should be ready for primer. Down here, it's not quite as nice. I need some filler up in here and there. I got some gouges up there still. A little bit right in here, a little low. Same right there. And then, you know, there was those gouges. Then you got this gouge, that one. That's a big old chip. But all in all, I am not upset here. Now let's look at the hood, and the lighting's better over here. So I had a couple of holes right here. You can kind of see one right there a little bit. Okay, I've got some gouges here. And that actually needs sanded a little bit better. So I'm just gonna put a little bit more filler on here, a little bit there, right in this area. And then same thing's going on over here. I got a big old chip right here, and that. This can all get sanded on the next pass. Now the former headlights, it needs another coat, and it will get sanded again and probably get a third one. But so far, so good. Like I said, I am not upset. That does not look bad at all. So I'm going to give it another coat of filler, start letting that dry up and set up. Hopefully I'll get sanded again this evening. Maybe even get the third layer on those headlights. That's my hopes and my goals. That would be awesome if I get sand on the body panels themselves. Because you gotta remember, I need to sand this entire thing. But we're making progress. Behold, I think this thing is ready for primer. It's definitely ready for primer to inspect the bodywork. So this, even though you can see a solid line here, for those of you who know how to do body work, that is a screaming indication of no, not ready. But this level was lower when it started getting filled. So I'm filled up to that line. And I will verify that when I put it in primer. This little chip, I think it's good. This also, I think it's good. I'm not worried about all this. I really don't care. As long as the paint and the primer sticks to it, it's covered up with the seat. And, you know, there's going to be like something right here, that little notch, maybe a little bit right here. But you know what? I'm not going for perfect. I'm going for better than good enough. I want it to grab your eye from a distance. I'm not just talking a 20-footer. I'm going to put this in primer here really shortly. I need to do some sanding on this first and see where it's at. It's probably going to need more filler. It's going to need more filler. It's only on that second application right now. So once I put filler on, sand that, put filler on it, then I'm going to come over here and double check and make sure the whole body is ready for primer. I want to make sure the whole thing is scuffed. If it's not scuffed, it won't stick. You see, I already taped off the warning badges. I haven't found those in reproduction, so I'm just going to tape them up. And it's hidden by the seat anyways, so the little bit of a ridge it's going to cause, it's not going to matter. Now, something that y'all saw me doing on that time lapse, that any body man worth his tools is going to say, I'm a hack. Okay, I'll take that. This is not what you use for body work. When you've got high points, really, really high points on the filler, like this, let me see, yeah, you can see a huge ridge right here. You're supposed to use a cheese grater. And I can't quite do it one-handed. But what the cheese grater does is like, it's a cheese grater. You just really file down and pull out big giant shavings, just like when you're shredding cheese. But this cheese grater is a piece of crap, first of all. Second of all, I'm not going to use this thing for fine body work. This is just for the rough work. And there's some body men that actually do use something like this. They just won't admit to it. So call me a hack. I don't care. At least I'm getting it done. Now, let's get this done. Here's where we are. I've got the main body suspended from the ceiling, floating in the middle of the shop. It's time to paint. Actually, it's time to primer. First coat of primer. I'm not going to stand here and tell you guys how to spray paint. Either A, you already know how, or B, you can just go to any of the other 11 billion YouTube pages and they'll teach you how to do it. I'm going to do it the way I was taught 34 years ago in school. I took 2 years of auto body 34 years ago. So what I'm doing is probably not practiced anymore. We didn't even have water-based paint back then. We still sprayed lacquer paint a couple times in high school. Yeah, it was that long ago. So I'm just going to tell you how I'm going to do it. I'm using Rust-Oleum filler primer, which all primers are filler, but some are more filler than others. This is basically like body filler that's sprayable. It builds up and you just knock it down, build it up and knock it down. And then it fills in minor imperfections. Are you gonna fix a dent? No. Are you gonna fix a pinhole in the Bondo? Maybe. It does actually do more than just make paint stick. So I'm gonna spray it on, light coats. I'm gonna put it on very dry and numerous coats. I have like 5 or 6 cans, so I've got enough. The hood over there, it still needs work. I put a lot of filler on it. All kinds of spots all over the top. I figured as I was patching up a couple small defects in the hood, I said to myself, I was like, I want this to look nice. When you walk up to the vehicle, what's the first thing you see? The roof. After that, you see the hood. So I want it to look really sharp. So I'm gonna put a little more effort into that. But for now, let's shoot some primer. Gotta make sure it's well mixed. It's crazy. and don't have your kerosene heater burning, the leg warmer, the leg burner, don't have the leg burner heater going. You don't want an open flame. This stuff gets in the air and it gets it can get ugly quick. Now the little furnace I got going, the fire is inside of it and it goes out the exhaust, which actually is still vented inside of here, but it's pretty cool by the time it gets out there. There's no fire. So I'm gonna run that one, but not the leg burner. And definitely not that, which it's out of gas anyways. Okay, so as you see, this is almost done. I need to touch this up a little bit with the body filler. I've got this where I like it. So a little bit right here, and hopefully this one will be done and ready for paint. Over here, you can see I went a lot more in depth on the bodywork on the hood. I've got a little bit more on the headlights, a little bit here, and a little bit over here. So I got a little bit of work to do on those two spots. And then that one will be ready for primer. And I'll look at it then and see if it's ready for paint. Something I hate about using spray cans is your spray pattern is only like this wide, and it's really hard to get your 50% coverage, because that's what your goal is. As soon as you go past once like this, then you want to go up and recover it by 50%. But with a spray can, it's not really possible unless you get the big giant cans, and I don't think they even have that for primer yet. So something you'll notice, and I don't know if you can see it in the time lapse that I just did, but you'll frequently get tiger stripes in your paint or in your primer. The way to help prevent tiger stripes is your first coat, you go left to right. Your second coat, you go north and south. That way, you're much more likely to get full coverage. I'm totally happy with this. Totally happy. I think once it cures, once it dries, I'm going to be knocking it down with some 400. I'm gonna let this dry, let that dry, and I've got a seat frame over here that I need to spray some paint on. So now it's time to shoot some paint. Let's make it happen.